Hey guys, Dan here, brewing an Oud Bruin today, or Flanders Brown Ale. It's like a brown ale that's soured, originates in Belgium. Lawfully would be a good example of an Oud Bruin. I'm going to also put some Maker's Mark and some oak cubes in it. So let's see how we go. Okay, so my strike water is in there. That's about 5.5 gallons. What I do is I usually heat up my strike water on the stove between two pots. Makes it easy to carry, and it heats it a lot faster. For the recipe, I'm using the Jamil Zaini Chef John Palmer recipe out of Brewing Classic Styles. Adjusted for my efficiency. It's Munich Special B Aromatic, Black Patent, torrefied wheat, which is all they had at the time. Should be malted wheat. I had a substitute there, Kara Munich, and then Belgian pills. And there's my water salts. It's about 10 grams of calcium chloride, 5 grams of Epsom salt, and 5 grams of baking soda. Alright, going on in. I should just dump it all in there and stir afterwards. And before stirring, I'm going to put in all my salt. That helps the salt dissolve a little better when you put your salts in after you put your grains in. Target was 152. About 154. It's not bad. Brew kitten. Collecting my first runnings. I'm into the Brooklyn boiler maker, and throwing in my hops. It's 1 ounce of Kent Goldings. At 60 minutes, that's the only addition for this recipe. I got my first batch sparge. I'm going to go ahead and do 2 batch sparges with about 2 gallons each. Try to rinse as much of that sugar off of these grains as possible. So the process of batch sparging is really simple compared to fly sparging. You basically just take an appropriate amount of hot water, about 180 degrees. You throw it into the mash, stir it up really good. You don't want your temperature to get above 170. The reason why I bring it up to 180 for the strike temperature is to get up to about 168 in the mash. And then you stir it up and boil off like this. Just remember, each time you batch sparge, you have to boil off because you're stirring up the grain bag. I already collected my second runnings. Here is the third runnings. Alright, I collect a little more than 7 gallons, and probably going to have to boil this for 90 minutes. I do have the lid on while it comes up to a boil, just to make it go faster. After the reach a boil, I'll take the lid off. One tip with the boiler maker, if you just are getting one, make sure you use this plate right here. There's some tape that comes on it, peel that off. You always want to use that to protect your thermometer and your water gauge. I always use a yeast nutrient with my beers. The reason is because I use distilled water or RO water, which doesn't have zinc in it when it comes to all grain beer. So you really need to use a zinc nutrient, or a nutrient that has zinc in it, and this one does. So I put half a teaspoon of this at the end of the boil. So in this little Ziploc baggie is my 375 milliliters of Maker's Mark, along with some oak cubes. They've been soaking for about a month. I don't think it's necessary to soak them for a month, but you might want to soak them at least for a couple of days to sanitize or sterilize. I'll probably just sanitize the oak cubes. As you can see, the color of the oak was really absorbed by the Maker's Mark. I'm just going to throw that right on into the primary, along with the lactobacillus. The lactobacillus is supposed to go in a little bit later, but I think with the Maker's Mark, I might want this beer to be a little more sour than a regular Flanders Brown Ale would normally be. So I'm going to put the lactobacillus in with the yeast. Alright, boil's over. Got it down to about 90 degrees so far with the wort chiller and stirring and watering the plants as well. Okay, dumped the Maker's Mark and the oak cubes in there, as you can see. And running it in real slowly from the boil kettle. Just rehydrating my US-05 right there. I'm going to put my lactobacillus in there before I pitch. And put the lacto and the US-05 in all in one go. Alright, it's all pitched. Got my blow-off tube ready to go. As you can see, I got the fermenter pretty full. It's a 5-gallon better bottle. Those are really used more for secondaries. But with the blow-off tube, I should be okay, hopefully. And that's about it.